Yeah, actually, the sleep deprivation is something that I've heard from other morning show DJs, past and present. It's just like, it's very hard to live a normal life or to be in a good mood or to function normally when you're doing that radio thing. In general, you're just exhausted all the time and you have to go there and you have to be really peppy. So it's a weird balance. Unless you're on like 938, then that's news radio, then you just like talk about the news. You don't have to be
And your
super
DJing
excited.
was how many days a week?
5 days a week, yeah.
5 days a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then was there a specific moment where you knew that, okay, I can't keep doing this. I need to...
Yeah, I think it was when I caught COVID.
Oh, really?
So I couldn't go to the station. And actually, I think all of us felt it at the same time. Like, so Divian called me on my 3rd or 4th day of quarantine. He was like...
Wait, when was this, sorry? Like,
it was...
At which point during the COVID? In 2020? Or?
March 2021.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, and then we had a call, and then like he was actually like, I really feel that, I mean, quite honestly, he was like, I feel that, like, you were really having difficulty, like being, and we've all been trying to make this group work. And actually now that you're not here, I can feel that these are the people who know how to do radio, and we're happy to have you back, but do you want to think about leaving? And actually, the days that I wasn't on the radio, it was weird. Like, I was just confined to my room, but I was also just like, I'm a lot less anxious. Yeah, so I won't say this is true for all the DJs. I'm sure there's so many DJs who are really good at their job and they love it. But for me, it was just this constant battle of like, who do I have to be today? I don't know who people want me to be. And again, maybe it was my own insecurity where I was not confident enough in myself. But I was just so anxious all the time. And then so when David had a call with me, I was like, yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think there's any point me coming back and trying to get better and better and better. And yeah, let's just call it quits.
Serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
In the midst of COVID.
I was like at home. They even shipped this little console to me so that I could patch in from home. But because there was a time lag, so first of all, it was very hard to come in on time. And then like you want to bounce off all the 4 voices like quite seamlessly. So first of all, it wasn't working. And secondly, also, I would listen to the topics that they would be talking about. And I was like, I really don't know what I can add here, because we had Divian, who was going to be a father. And then that's like the time belt where a lot of parents are driving their kids to school. And then you had Irene and Celeste, like both of who were like caring for children.
Yeah.
And then like you and me. And I was like, yeah, woohoo, me and my dog. Wear crop tops everywhere. And so it was I felt I didn't really fit into that picture of what would be good for the show, because they were talking about like, okay, so we're talking about like bringing our kids to school, and then like, okay, my kid today, she cried at the vaccination center, and I was really like, what do I do? And I'm like, how do I add to this? Do I just throw something super left field, like like just punt her, like kick her across the room, like do I say things like that? But you can't. So yeah, it was just a thing of like, yeah, I mean, you want to talk about being yourself, but also there's not necessarily a space for you, I think, in certain time belts. Yeah.
So I mean, like the fact that Divian brought it up and kind of like, I mean, feels like he was looking out for you, because it's probably not an easy conversation for him to have.
It's not. I mean, I actually respect Divian a lot. I don't think we are good radio partners, and he knows this. And he will tell you the same. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and he wanted to do what was best for the show and what was best for me also, to be honest. Yeah.
So then after that, it was like unlocked in your head. Then you can get back to...
Yeah, it was so freeing,
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Then because I was supposed to be balancing again radio and rehearsals for Tartuffe, which is about a religious imposter who pretends to be a holy man, and then he comes to his family and he scams them of all their money. And I mean, I don't know what I can say or cannot say on this podcast, but a lot of people found that very relevant to certain institutions in Singapore.
You can say whatever you want, man.
You can say, don't worry.
That's all I'm gonna say for now. But yeah, so there was, and then he comes in and he robs them of their money, and then he's essentially like the whole country, the king gets influenced by this holy man, and then suddenly the whole country goes under this very artificial law, which just goes to benefit this holy man. And then meanwhile, this holy man is like sexually assaulting all these girls. So I was having to balance that again with going on radio and talking about pandas. So it was just such a relief. Actually, I was like, yeah, I can just focus on my holy corruption, sexual assault play. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it does sound to me. I mean, honestly, this is I was initially thinking, okay, it's basically maybe you didn't like the job and all that lah. So okay, fine.
I wasn't good
you
at it lah.
But
honestly.
beyond that, it does sound like even for yourself, like mental health wise and all that, it was actually very important for you that you stepped away from radio lah.
For me, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think what's great about your podcast, I think, is that you guys talk about whatever's bothering you, right? As opposed to like, yeah, talking about what is kind of light and fluffy and palatable at the moment.
No, in fact, for me, like even like I went through quite tough times last year, personally.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
We stepped away for like a month. After that, I felt like I needed to come back and do the show because it was not only cathartic for me, but it was because we talk a lot about our everything out there, like whether it's depressing stuff or personal stuff and all that as well. It actually feels like, hey, if I'm going through a tough time, maybe talking about it and there's someone else listening and hearing it might also feel, hey, okay, there's a way to get out this rut. I can talk about it and all that. So I actually felt this, not just obligation, but it felt better for me to be able to talk freely and come back and do a show, even though, like I was still dealing with issues and all that. So that's the thing I'm finding quite interesting from what you're saying, is that it was like almost like it was causing you so much anxiety that you didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna caveat this again, where like I think that it's important what some of these people do, because honestly, and I think the play that I'm writing about, it's also a bit about that, where if the world is falling apart, right?
Yeah.
You get in your car, sometimes you really just don't want to hear about how the world is falling apart. You do want to just have these two friends, whether they are, even though you are not their real friends, right? Just like kind of like being in the backseat and just talking about prata or whatever it is that they're talking about that day. And it's just nice. It's just nice to have a bit of a hangout. So I think that a lot of the time it's important for entertainment, I mean the entertainment that you guys make as well. It's like you guys do some serious stuff and you do some really light stuff that's really funny. I still remember, Haresh, you showing up in a toga to arts faculty because you were saying that this is what you would wear to date the arts faculty girls. I really thought it was like one of my favorite YouTube videos, no joke.
Oh, really?
I was like, this is great. And yeah, because I think it was smart, but it was also funny, and it wasn't about whatever depressing stuff was happening in the world, and that's necessary, and they make a space for that, and I think that's totally great. I just didn't know how I fit in there, honestly. Yeah, I mean, you guys are entertainers. What do you think? I mean, there's a space, right, for just total ridiculousness. Doesn't have to be about terrorists all the time. You know what I mean?
I mean, personally, I sometimes feel like I need to veg out. So then I would that's when I go on TikTok or some shit, just because I want to watch stuff that I don't need to think about.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when we do want to talk about stuff that maybe we feel is worth thinking about, we try and layer it with like comedy or something.
Right.
Because if it's too dry, if it's too technical, and that's something that, in the space of like the intellectual space of the Singapore internet, sometimes I feel people get a bit too
It's binary
wordy.
Oh, so it's either super smart or super banal.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, in some way, we are trying to fill that space because you can talk about what happens in Parliament, but you need to write like a very academic essay or something. No, you just talk about it in a way, and you make jokes. So I think that's generally our approach to covering news and media, which is why, but I still feel like radio does have a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just feels like, what is the next evolution of radio in Singapore?
Yeah,
I don't know whether while you were DJ, did you listen to or just research how radio is evolving in other countries? Because one common thing we hear in Singapore is, censorship kills everything. I think to a certain extent that's true, but I also think to a certain extent that's not. And I'm just wondering how other people do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we were told to go and listen to our favorite radio programs, and so if you ask me to think about it right now, I think definitely, I mean, there's different types of radio, right? So for a contemporary hit station here, like the one I was on, you really have to fit everything into 3 minutes. So censorship is one thing, but also the format of everything, where it's just like, okay lah, we are really just here as the stocking, as like the packing peanuts.
It's like Nas Daily, multiple Nas Daily videos.
Yeah. So first of all, when you have that structure already, you're like, okay, we need to put a question out like, hey, like, is it okay to yawn without covering your mouth? Like, is a girl still attractive when she whatever, things like that. You have to put your thesis out. You have to put your different viewpoints in. You have to round it off with a laugh in 3 minutes. And that's already like, it's not censorship, but it's like, it's not going to be real. You know what I mean? That's already not going to be real.
It's like when we've gone on radio also, the question is, okay, they ask us this, they're like, oh, so how do you get into, what made you want to get into media? They were like,
Do we start?
we met in school, we wanted to make videos, and then now, coming up next is a song from John Bon Jovi. They were like, fuck, there's so much more to talk about.
I know. And the great thing is that, do you notice that whenever you go on radio, whatever it is you say, like, okay, say something to me. So what made you want to go into media?
I was looking at Porridge one day and I realized, hey, there can be an ad about this.
What? That's great. I'm such a funny guy.
For those
All right, so coming right up.
For those who can't see it, like Joe just did a great impersonation of what she does on radio, like how she reacts to.
No, but so for the longest time, like, I thought I was doing a great job on radio because Div is being so polite and supportive, right? So I would say something and I wasn't sure whether it was funny, but he would just be like, and I'll be like, wow, I am really killing this, because I couldn't, until later he would give me feedback like, maybe just now you shouldn't have. So it's weird. Like, so yes.
Would you reciprocate?
Yeah, I have to. I mean, like, you have to back each other up.
You're pretty good at it, like. You're pretty good at the fake laugh.
No, don't be like that. Like, terrible. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that was part and parcel of it. So I mean, if you want to talk about like overseas, I think the programs I like are the ones where there's a lot more space for talk time. But people literally do go on and they want to hear about these things, and they want to hear from the personalities. So I think it's hard. It's hard with the format.
So it's the format itself that is almost like reached the pinnacle of radio already. Is it? We have reached the pinnacle of radio.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure we haven't. I mean, there's a much better way, I'm sure, than how I did it, or maybe how many people are doing it, than to make those 3 minutes entertaining. But it actually is hard work.